What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for February 28th, 2022. As an Evo Kati release approaches, we're still lacking information on the key features coming to 3.17, namely selling. Star Citizen Live was delayed this week, the sneak peek was lackluster, this week felt like it was planning week, them just coming back from a holiday, and oh yeah, it's my birthday today, so like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, all that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first Week in Review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news, put it into one video, and share my opinions, whether you like those opinions or not. I also do live stream on Twitch every day but Monday, so I can get this video out to you guys at twitch.tv/SaltEMike, starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We also have a second channel that you guys have been really enjoying. So many good comments on my Twitch stream and everything from you guys, SaltEMike 2. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you guys do so. The link will be in the top right. But jumping right into video updates, because we didn't have monthly reports, we didn't have patch notes, we didn't really have much to discuss this week. We have an ISC, and it was a filler ISC, starting out with an origin story. But this one's a little bit different than previous origin stories. I think this one has something for the type of player that I am, or the type of maybe content creator that I am, where I feel that some of the things that they do have been inappropriate at times. And Will makes the trailers for the patches and ISC, and I've noticed them improve greatly in that direction lately, and I think this may be why.
I think being a backer before coming to do this job really helps. I've already got years worth of just memories of going, okay, there was a place I found that one time that was pretty cool. I think I know how I can get back there. Knowing all the different ships, their interiors, all of that was like a massive help when I started working here, and it's really helped influence a lot of what's going on.
I'm starting to notice that being a backer is a very important thing to be working there. I think it's not only to have an understanding of the complexity of all the ships and the planets and the history of the game, but to know some of the things that they may not have done well in the past and improve on it. And speaking of that, at the end of this feature, he said this specifically about his content that he's been putting out.
And then it'll be my job to go into the game and try and capture that and show that off. Trying to make it look as cinematic as I can, but also trying to really make it look honest to the way that it's going to be when the players get hold of it.
The honesty was never really never a thing until we saw the 3.15 trailer. They specifically showed that trailer in this feature, and I think the idea of that was entirely done not just in engine, but in the game. In the game, showing actual gameplay and what a player would experience. I thought that was really cool. Thank you, Will. Thank you, because that is one of the biggest changes I've seen made to Star Citizen's marketing content that they've been putting out, and it seems you are the culprit, and I just want to say thank you. It just makes it a little bit less bad to be someone who is out here trying to represent a game that we're very passionate about, when seeing things that are hard to be passionate about happen, and the trailers were one of those things, so thank you so much. Also, at the end, they showed a couple ships in-game that you might be interested in.
The experience of seeing behind the door and seeing the incredible work that goes on here is fantastic. Honestly, the best thing about working here is just being able to play with all the new features before anyone else.
First, they showed quite a bit of the Hull A, and it's looking good as expected since it's very far along. But in general, the Hull A, I think we're still really waiting on the cargo refactor for that to see its true potential, and probably beyond the cargo refactor, because smaller ships just aren't really making the profits and stuff like that you would expect from Star Citizen or from games. You would like to see cargo be able to be useful in all scenarios, but right now it's mostly just the large ships. And then we saw the Drake Corsair there at the end, and I think a lot of people are awaiting this one as a competitor to the Constellation. So those two ships were shown off there. Then they did a sprint report, which was, surprise, surprise, an all-vehicle, no gameplay sprint report. And they started out with that ship, the Corsair. Its first steps into Greybox are happening, and they are focused on the interior now as they show a really long walkthrough of the entire thing. It feels like to me as if like a Cutlass and a Caterpillar had a baby, so it looks very Drake already, even in Greybox, and it's looking cool. The Vulture is in final art phase, and they're just showing wear and tear, things like that. The BMM, the Banu Merchantman, is in white box, still showing interiors, but we're starting to see character more. So instead of just rounded white blobs is kind of what I was seeing before, you're starting to see the character of some of the rooms, like in the med center. And they also said they want to have multi-species facilities. I think that's just silly because we know there's not going to be multiple species in this game for some time. And then they show the insanely huge landing gear. They put a little character there to show just how big it is. Then the Scorpius. They just showed the wings and the entrance. So, of course, skins as well that will be sold with the next sale of the Scorpius, I bet. And then the whole sea. So they took a really long look at the interior here. It looks misc. The one thing that I'm noticing is as they get this down really well, I tend not to care much about the look in these trailers, the look of the ships. I'm way more interested to see how they travel through them, the flow, where we put things, what we use inside the interior, and how the ship will improve the way I play the game. And it's hard to see that in this specific one. The Vulture was very cool when they did that. The big thing here is that they called it economy altering. First, what economy? And second, I hope that means that with the cargo refactor, that all of this is got the juices flowing in their head, and they realize that there are a lot of economic issues and progression issues in the current experience that they may have to address during that cargo refactor, as well as with ships like this coming into the game. So yeah, it's we currently don't have an economy where there is anything to alter really, but in the future we may. So they may be referencing that, they may be referencing the current experience, who knows, but I hope they do something. And then this is a big one. Star Citizen Live was canceled. It was with a gameplay team. I think it was the USPU gameplay team or the EUPU. I think it was the EUPU gameplay team. And there are a lot of you out there that need to wake up to the fact that Star Citizen is not the only thing in the world. There's a lot more things going on, and seeing people upset that Star Citizen Live had nothing to do with the world events that were going out there. There was nothing that was preventing them from doing it, and this is just an excuse to keep delaying things. You guys need a hobby. You need to get a life, because you don't know who is got family in Ukraine. You don't know who is, you know, there could be something like that, or it could just be general, like, hey, today there's more important things to think about, and we don't think it's appropriate to come on. And I think that's more of what it was, and I'm fully behind that. You know, normally I'd be like, oh man, I'm really upset. This is the thing I was looking forward to all week, was the gameplay discussion. You guys know me, you know I love that stuff, but I'm not upset at all that we don't have any of those things. Like, yes, at the intro I said it feels more like a planning week, and one of the reasons why it feels that way is because we didn't have this huge influx of a ton of information that we probably would have gotten out of this. But at the same time, I think I can wait until next week, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it takes. We've been waiting years now, so I think we can wait another week, guys. Just grow up a little bit, all right? Now for other updates, Jumptown profits are changing. They're fluctuating the amount of boxes per minute, thus making Jumptown earnings per hour basically vary. And some people were really upset about the boxes only coming out every 90 seconds, which is understandable. It just felt like weird and not worth it. But then it was every 45 seconds the next day, and then I think they did 30 again. So it's clearly not dynamic yet, but it simulates what it might be like in the future, and they can get statistics and see how interested people are, or you know, kind of tell us what the experience could be like in the future when things are dynamic. You know, they need to gather stats like that, and it just made sense. They did a hotfix for a launcher error that people were having, a code 0 error that you may have been experiencing. If you still had that issue, they want you to post on the issue council, and there is one linked in the description for that specifically. There was a ship claim bug that I experienced on an account. I only have one ship, so I was forced to stop. And they resolved that issue, but then you were required to reset your account, which is kind of problematic when it comes to inventories, right? I think anybody who's reset their account or started in a new patch and had their inventory just insanely flooded with things that they have spread across the verse is quite annoying. Then Xenothreat rewards. Apparently some people are not getting them, so if this was your first round of Xenothreat and you didn't get your rewards, you may be experiencing a bug, and CIG wants you to post bug reports about it so they can investigate. The Galactopedia update was this week, so they did a Space Whale Storm Wall feature post, and then the other ones were mostly locations and a few other things as always. Then we had a sneak peek, which is a fire extinguisher, and I doubt this means anything, but if you really want to read into things, maybe that fire propagation tech or whatever is moving along quite nicely, and maybe we're going to see it in game, and they felt that, hey, we need these props as well to deal with those things. I doubt it, but if you really want to read into things and go a little insane, you can. Subscriber armors were shown in the jump point that are coming up, and they aren't a massive deviation from things that we currently have in the game. They're also heavy armor, so these are more widely used at the moment in game because time to kill is so low, especially at Jumptown, right, that you kind of want to have as much heavy armor as possible to hopefully survive any sort of conflict, and the drawbacks really aren't that high, so heavy armor is worth, basically. And guys, that's all we got this week, so not much going on, but there are a lot of other things going on in the world. So speaking of that, one of our friends of the show here and one of my good friends, Space Cutlet, is still in Ukraine and, you know, trying to get him and his family to safety. So we are still doing that funding drive. I was actually talking to him on Discord this morning, and he said we've already raised enough money to build one of the bridges back that have been destroyed, but we're trying to help build his life back. So if you guys want to donate to that cause, the link will be in the description. And yeah, as always, like, subscribe, leave comments down below on anything that we discussed today. And yeah, make sure you check out my Answer the Call this week. I'm very passionate about this cargo refactor, as I think it is the major update that we're going to be getting this year. And talking about it, thinking about it, and discussing it, I think is super important as they're building it out, to say what is important to us, what is necessary, what is non-negotiable, needs to be there. I think is one of the best ways to give feedback, but we'll see. So thank you again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.